He used to walk the same halls that our kids are walking right now.
Yeah. 2000 graduate?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere in there.
I just remember him in sandals and socks. But
Sir, how dare you? And we'll start with that today.
Let's
a couple of amazing things already happening this week in Niceville. City Council Week, of course, so we got a lot of stuff going on. But I just got back from a very big Matt Gaetz rally in the town of Niceville. Rand Paul from Kentucky was there. Representative Luna was there as well as a bunch of other local notables.
They're pitching to the base.
They're pitching to the base, and they're pitching hard. And from the looks of it, it's working. And
more on that later.
Meth bust in Niceville. Mobile meth bust in Niceville.
Were they from here?
I don't remember.
More on that.
More on that as we go forward. And then finally, Lil Fowler, resident of Okaloosa County, Niceville, turns 104. And I've got some really cool dates that'll tell you about how long her life has been in something that made it more or less abstract.
Time boxed.
There you go. There it is. So let's start with...
That woman has seen some things.
She's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the big thing. I just got back from the Matt Gaetz rally. As I said, a lot of heavy hitters from the National Republican Party were there, as well as the individuals endorsed for various offices here locally by Matt Gaetz.
Niceville High School graduate.
Niceville High School graduate Matthew Lewis Gaetz.
Wow, you knew his middle name.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Look, man, you got to know stuff, all right, to
That's
do
impressive.
this job. You got to know some things, all right?
Yep. He used to walk the same halls that our kids are walking right now.
Yeah. 2000 graduate?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere in there.
I just remember him in sandals and socks. But
Sir, how dare you?
That's the only Matt Gaetz story I have.
And we'll continue with that.
On with the news.
So they talked about, mostly as you would guess, national issues. Talked a lot about COVID. The one thing that I thought was really incisive, and I hadn't really thought about before from Gaetz himself, talked about the coups that we've had in West Africa, where we've had a lot of military personnel deployed.
Mm-hmm.
And Rand Paul riffed on this as well, talked about how, we haven't formally declared war on anybody
Right.
in Mali proper, as it were. But we are still over there because of the that continuing resolution that kind of stems out of 9/11. Matt Gaetz talked about how he conversed with spouses of military personnel over there.
Yep.
And how he worked to get them back, get them on rotation. He blamed, as you can probably guess, the administration for that as well. And Rand Paul really leaned into the COVID stuff, talked about that for an extensive period of time.
It's over.
And that's, I don't know, it energized the base, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you it didn't work. But
they just cheered because they had to.
I don't know, man. Those people, like, it's Monday at noon.
I think it's a scar that's going to continue to poke at the scar, at the wound.
I think that is really yes. At the end of the day, it's
our freedoms were taken.
That's the word, freedom. So I've been listening to a couple of podcasts, people talking about what freedom means to them and why it's such a powerful, emotive concept in our republic.
Sure.
So talked to him afterwards, had a couple of interview questions with him at a press gaggle, asked him specifically about affordable housing and what the federal government can do.
Nice.
He talked a little bit about the National Defense Authorization Act that was recently passed and how he added a rider in there to free up some federal land that's owned by Eglin Air Force Base for sale in the kind of Mississippi Avenue area of Valparaiso.
Gotcha. So
wants to hopefully build in some denser housing. He talked about it in terms of rank and grade. So he talked about, everybody from junior enlisted to junior officers kind of living in that space right off base. So overall, a very productive rally. Also talked about Rice's whales. I don't know if you've heard about those, but man, those are a good time.
I'm sure you'll have more content on midbaynews.com.
I will, and I will not belabor the point. All you need to know is there's 52 of them, and we can't bomb them. In meth bust news, that's right, back here in the wonderful state of Florida, where we continue to have a little bit of a meth problem.
It's
two
unfortunate.
ladies were arrested for possessing a mobile meth lab, and although in my mind I think of
Breaking
Bad and Better Call Saul, do not call me if you have meth. Thank you.
You thought it would be bigger, and their little lab was very small.
Their little lab, when they say mobile meth lab, the image
Yeah.
is conjured up as like literally like a Dexter's laboratory size thing,
Right, like in the
middle.
trunk or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the, but it's a Coke can. Actually, in this case, I think it was a Pepsi can. Sorry to, just don't sue us, Coke. But yeah,
It was a soda can.
the point is that it's really a lot easier to manufacture this stuff, and a lot of it, I guess, is being done locally. At least that's what I was told the last time I talked in depth with the sheriff's office about this. And it continues to be a big problem, along with fentanyl and other drugs that are both illegal and dangerous to one's health.
I mean, I think over the last year, the city and the county has done a great job of cleaning up some of the trouble houses and troubled areas of the Niceville community. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is an ongoing national issue, and we have some challenges with it here locally, and two less people on the street. Maybe they'll get the help that they need and become productive members of society.
And speaking of, cleaning up those drug houses, it's a dogfight. I mean, you don't just arrest the people, move them out, foreclose on the property, and be done in 30 days.
Right.
It is like years long.
Right. And that's in the great state of Florida, where it's a lot easier to do those things. Other states, it's a lot harder. It takes a lot longer to get rid of it.
It might not even happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I think, probably the biggest issue that we have.
Tell me about Lil Fowler.
Oh, man, Lil Fowler. No, Lillian Fowler is 104 years old as of July the 31st.
That's amazing.
And wonderful woman, weekly mass attendee at Christ Our Redeemer.
Good for her.
Has lots of friends who love her. They throw her a party every single year.
She has all of her faculties?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, so she is a little hard of hearing.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's 104.
It's amazing.
But she's very. I asked her questions, and once she heard them, she was like, "Oh, here's what I'm going to do." The dates that I want to share with you, right? So she was born in 1920.
Yep.
But she was born on July the 31st of 1920.
Yep.
Do you know what happened 19 days after her birthday?
No.
Women got the right to vote.
That's pretty good.
Like, that happened in her lifetime.
Yeah. She's seen a lot just in technology, too.
When she was 21, we went to war with the Germans and the Japanese.
We were still on the gold standard.
We were still on the gold standard.
Yeah.
She was, I think, 68 when Niceville football won its its football championship.
That's crazy.
The numbers are just absolutely wild. The first Boggy Bayou Mullet Festival, she was 57. I got a bunch of these.
Is she? How long has she lived here?
She's lived here since 1981.
1981. I was born in 1980, so yeah, that's a long time.
So she's been here for quite a while. Her
43
husband,
years.
She met her husband in college. Her husband was in the Air Force, Army Air Corps, I would assume, before the Air Force's inception. And they retired here in 1981, had 5 kids. And when she was little, this is the other thing that just totally gets me wild, is her dad was a train engineer, train conductor. And so she had rail passes to go on the railroad to different places. But for the most part, most people didn't go anywhere, for
a long time. They
and
don't
so
utilize it.
her big thing that she remembers as a kid was going to New Orleans to see the premiere of Gone with the Wind.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, bro.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, just a very full life. And I asked her about what she's going to be doing this next year. She says she has a plan to kind of remodel her garden, for lack of a better term. That's her secret to longevity, by the way, is to do a ton of gardening.
So she's still in her own home?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's just doing the thing, man.
That's awesome.
So, Lil,
God bless her.
Happy birthday, and we wish you the best here from the guys at Paul and Saul.
Keep doing it, Lil.
All right.
Keep doing it.
We're going to move on to the big topic. And that, my friend, is going to be pretty much all football-based.
Yeah.
First one for me, what Niceville High School alumni are you looking to have a big year at either the college or the pro level this year? I'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, I think Mr. Thomas at FSU has an opportunity to have a huge breakout year for them, which could lead to high draft status. So I'm going to go with him. That's
not bad. I think it would be cheating for me to say Wanye now that you've said Azariah.
Yeah.
And so I think J.P. McHale over at Georgia Southern had a big spring game last couple of days, caught one of the only passes for his colored team.
Yeah, he had a touchdown.
Yeah, he had a touchdown. Yeah. Why did I say caught pass? I sound like I'm 12.
Well, he did catch it.
He did catch it, and he did then run it
score
in
a touchdown.
For a touchdown.
Yeah.
Point is that the young man looking good, and rooting for him.
Did you know that his dad trained him pretty well? Has a local business that helps with that.
Word on the street is he does that.
Yeah,
And
M3.
So
Not a sponsor, but I am a client. So there you go. Shout out, JP.
anyway, so it's cool to see all these players. I think we have something like, just in football, I think we have like 7 or 8 Division I players throughout the area.
Yeah.
A couple kids playing for either Army or Navy this year, and I'm trying to think of South Alabama, Khalil Jacobs.
Yeah, we got
over there.
We got Firestone. He's at Missouri.
Missouri now,
Yeah.
that's right. Austin
Yep.
Firestone's over there. And then, let's see, just off the top of my head, just shooting from the hip, Coastal, Sorensen, Max Sorensen? Anyway, point is there's a lot of guys playing, but I can't remember them in my head, and I have a spreadsheet. If you go to midbaynews.com/sports, you can find all of them there. That's where we're monitoring how they're doing. And
You should create an all Niceville team once you finally get your Xbox.
Oh, I got it. It's downstairs, and it's IRS. I wrote it off, and here's why.
Don't tell them this.
It's a legitimate business expense. Don't arrest me.
Oh, my
I am
gosh.
going to go through and find everybody that plays Division I football in from Okaloosa County.
Okay.
And I'm going to be like, here are your top 10 players from Okaloosa County.
I love it.
Read them and weep.
I love it.
Expect that story next week.
Yeah. It's a lot of work on that one, but that's going to be fun.
Look, man, somebody's got to do it. All
Yeah.
right? And I'm willing to sacrifice myself for the greater good.
Yep.
You're welcome. And I guess we've kind of gone through dark horses, but
Yeah.
how do you think Niceville High School itself is going to fare this year? And let me
So-
pull up the schedule
Yeah,
before.
go ahead and pull it up.
Okay, so
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I heard about some old timers at the gym today talking about
Go-
this. So
go
I'm going to tell you the skinny.
go off, King.
So I think the thought is that we're going to have a pretty good season. Although I think we have more away games than we typically do, so that's a little bit different.
Trade off from last year when we had like 8 home games.
Yeah, crazy amount of home games. I think the thought is that we will obviously make the playoffs and make a run, maybe 2 to 3 games in, and then it'll get super challenging. Just sort of, I guess that's not really cheating. That's kind of what happens to us like almost every year, at least the last few years.
What, the 2 to 3
Yeah, we usually win 2 to 3 games.
quarterfinals.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, I think we have a lot of young talent, and I think like what's going on in Niceville from a student athlete perspective. We talked about JP just a second ago, but I think he's got like 100 kids at that place in Valpy that he has where he's training them in youth sports. So it's amazing. I
Got
think
some really good talent, skill position players as well.
yeah.
But honestly, the big thing for me, and I know this is like pretty macro, even though last year we kind of underperformed at home, I would say. Isn't
Yeah,
that,
I think we could admit that.
I still think that having home games matters.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when some of
Which
these are
one on this?
non-districts,
Yeah,
right?
but which one on the schedule are you like worried about?
So it's not one, but it's like the 5-game middle. So Pine Forest at home, right?
Yeah.
September 6th.
Yep.
Crestview away.
Yep.
Choctaw away.
Yeah.
Gulf Breeze at home. Mosley away. And then Lincoln, who beat us last year. Like that's not easy. And so like what I'm saying is I'm not down. I'm not hating on the squad. I think they're going to do just
what
fine.
if we
but
actually
that's a hard schedule.
What if we actually have more losses regular season, but we go a little bit better in the playoffs? I mean, that could.
Oh, who
that could
doesn't
happen.
want that? Remember when Choctaw did that last year, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
where they went like 5-5 and then went to the semifinals?
I think that could happen.
That's doable. I mean, like that's a hard
Yeah, I'm looking
middle
at
of the schedule.
I'm looking at the schedule. Yeah.
I mean but like to say, I mean, but if you go 6-4 with that schedule, I think you're playoff contender.
Yeah, I think we'll do better than that.
I agree. I'm
going to
saying.
say 6-4. You said 6-4.
I would say, okay, so Bay doesn't count because that's the kickoff this Friday, by the way. Then South Sumter, that's a dub. Escambia, that's a dub. Pine Forest, that's really hard. But it is at home, so 2/3 of a dub? I don't know. Crestview, Choctaw, Gulf Breeze, Mosley, Lincoln, Milton, Navarre. The only game that I see is like a super easy win.
Yeah.
I'm starting my boy Colin Bester, but Milton, I think that's not a guaranteed win, but dadgum. And don't say loud things. Thank you.
So we have 10 regular season games. Is that right?
Yes, always 10.
I'm going to pick 8-2.
8-2. I think that.
I'm going to say 8-2.
Man, that Crestview game is always so difficult.
They hate us so bad.
Oh, man. I hear it's because they ain't us.
They just hate us.
No, I get that.
Really bad.
Oh.
I mean, they're the ones who wear the T-shirts that highlight evil in the word Niceville.
It's there.
It's
It's undeniable.
It is pretty funny.
I mean,
You gotta give them props for that.
Bulldogs, props on y'all for being clever minxes.
What are you guys gonna do though when you have 2 high schools in Crestview and your talent is split?
Okay, look. Don't make this a Permian Panthers thing for them, all right?
It's going to be a problem.
But
now you'll just have 2, subpar football teams.
Oh, come on. They're not, dude, they're a good football team. Like, and they're getting better, and not only that, but they're getting better.
They're going to do what any good jurisdiction would do, and all the good football players will go to one of the schools.
Okay, this is not Texas, my friend. All right?
That's what will happen.
There are laws here.
People will have to move from one side of the city to the other.
So I do think that Crestview game is a humdinger, especially since it's away.
Yeah.
Are
you using 1920 slang just for...
You don't like humdinger?
For Lil Fowlers?
Look,
that's pretty good.
First of all, it's a character in Paw Patrol. All right?
That's even worse.
So you need to check yourself.
8-2. I picked 8-2. What did you pick?
I say 8-2 as well, but I'm not sure. Yes.
No, you can't pick the same number.
Well, here's the thing: is because I don't know.
You have to go 7-3 or 9-1. Which one?
Oh, come on!
You have to. I already picked 8-2.
No, because that makes me the bad guy.
Then you better pick 9-1.
That makes me not telling the truth.
Fine. The Paul and Saul show says we're going 8-2.
Collective 8-2. Thank you.
Right,
I don't know which 2 games, and I'd like for it to be 0, but
it's terrible.
I just work here.
That pick was terrible for the show.
Whatever. I don't need this.
On to the comments.
So we got this first comment off of...
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
We both have our phones out.
We have our phones
We're
out.
actually ready for this now.
And it's going to show up on screen, so don't you worry. You don't have to look at our phones.
Yeah.
Anyway, first comment comes to us from YouTube. It says, a dedicated drone park would be nice, if only at the College Park, which I'm assuming is one of the parks at Northwest Florida State.
I don't know why.
I like that idea. And Paul unfairly accused me of subbing my own comment here.
Well, yeah, I mean, you like to fly drones, so you probably wrote that comment.
I like to fly a plane. No, I do think it's a cool idea just because there's a lot of potential for unmanned aircraft, and that makes sense in an academic setting.
Well, where do those guys fly their drones now? Because don't they do unmanned stuff already?
They do. There's a lot of restricted airspace around here.
Yes.
We're in a very small sliver of unrestricted airspace in between totally restricted airspace and Class B airspace.
I don't think this would be a difficult thing to do, so fine. Let's give it to the guy.
I think it's pretty cool. And I think there's a huge opportunity for people to learn and build like a kind of a cottage industry.
Okay.
Around that. So
I'll do the next one.
Big one. Go ahead.
I'll do the next one. This one also comes from YouTube. Last week we talked heavily about money coming in politics and donations. And this person says, no, money does determine elections, period. And no one has ever won an election here in Okaloosa County with a lower bank account.
I don't know if that's true.
I think that's a difficult thing to do because they didn't have the data like you have supplied.
They don't. And it really does depend on how far you go back. But I have not. There was just one recently.
I'll
come back to it.
We know money drives a lot of things.
Money has a high correlative effect on winning an election.
There we go.
It is a non-guarantee, though. And that is what...
We're basically agreeing with that comment.
I would say that's...
For the most part.
I would say it's like 90% fair, but I would also say that just like we don't... Appalachian State beat Michigan in 2007.
Yeah, there's always something.
There's always something.
An absence that proves the rule, right?
And so I say that makes a lot of sense, but I'm not completely 100% sold that whoever has the highest dollar amount will win.
Last one. I think it's the last one. You put out a piece about the history of Eglin Air Force Base and how it got its name and the backstory. I think you did that like 3 or 4 days ago. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, really cool history piece and gave you some love.
Guys, there is really cool history all around here. And I think the problem is that most of the time we focus on like the last 70 years with good reason. We went from like nobody living here to everybody living here in the last 70 years.
So I think what you need to do too is maybe put a history tab, like a playlist on the YouTube. I mean, your Black Alamo video was like super good, and definitely it deserves triple, quadruple the views that it got. So
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
I would put more of that content out, and it's evergreen. I mean, you can put that out on Facebook and different places multiple times per year, and people will keep watching it.
I'm definitely not doing that right now.
Yeah, totally should do that.
Anyway, that is what we've got in the past.
What is
Week.
coming up this week?
Guys, of course, it's City Council week, which means that your boy's going to be busy. That's great. That's
I'll
good.
be there too.
You'll be there. You going?
I am going.
All
I have
right.
to speak.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
But I won't say why. You'll just have to show up.
Show up. Show up. Also vote. Early voting has started this week, so this is your chance to do so.
So tell me, how do I go early vote?
So, are you registered to vote?
I am registered to vote. How do I go right now and vote?
You can go to one of several locations throughout the county.
Okay.
The closest one to you is at the Niceville City Hall.
I'm going to be there tonight. Is it going to be open?
It will be open until 7 p.m., I believe.
Sweet. I'll go there early and vote.
And so you can vote early. Check local listings
Okay.
to ensure that.
That's awesome.
But you can vote early, and then Election Day is next Tuesday. That, of course, is the last opportunity for you to vote. And I know for a fact polls close at 7 p.m. because that is the law. And therefore, they will close. And you will, if you're in line, you're good. But if you're not, you ain't.
So last week, you and I heard a cool story about an entrepreneur from Niceville who has a really cool business.
Yes.
And it's not here locally. So tell us about that.
This is, I'm hoping this will be like one of the top 10 stories I get to write this year. There's a guy named Lance Moss, class of, I want to say, 1996?
Probably about right.
Who was a Niceville High School grad. His dad was a F-4 Phantom pilot in Vietnam, came here with the military.
Cool.
And just grew up surfing. His dad's one of his dad's fighter pilot buddies put him on a surfboard, and he just was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I must do it.
Yeah.
And
then what?
And then he goes to Flagler College, where, of course, there are bigger waves on the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And quickly realizes that, surfing is like
The thing?
his life. Surfing is life for him.
School was getting in the way.
And school was kind of like in the way in there.
Yeah.
And so he packs up an FJ Cruiser in Niceville, Florida, after buying an acre of land in southwest Nicaragua.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah. And they drive from Niceville, Florida to southwest Nicaragua.
And they don't get kidnapped
And they
in
don't
any of
get
those
kidnapped,
countries.
which is pretty rad. And they started a surf camp.
That's
and
awesome.
it is a thriving surf camp today. They have, I think something like 80% of their bookings are repeat customers.
That's amazing.
And so, high quality. If you can do that,
Yeah.
you can pretty much do anything.
But he doesn't just surf. What else does he do?
He also does some charter fishing.
Of course.
And is quite the charter fisherman.
Yeah.
Surfari Charters, by the way. Anyway, Lance gave us an interview as I'm recording this morning, and I'm working on a very long story that kind of explains the background of what happened, how he got there.
Yeah, that's a really cool story, and a story of entrepreneurship and taking a risk.
And that's the coolest thing about it to me, is that he so joyfully just took what I would consider like a crazy risk on himself. He bet on himself and he won.
And now he catches big fish in the Pacific.
And surfs.
Yeah.
And has beer on the
Super
beach, on his acre of beach land.
Well done. Well done, Lance.
So Lance, first of all, nice. Secondly, wow. And thirdly, the story will be up soon, so we look forward to it.
Maybe instead of buying an Xbox, that you should fly us down there
To
as a business.
Nicaragua?
Yeah, as a business expense. Just saying.
You just write it off.
That's right. Just write it off. It's time for
Buy, sell.
I went first last week. Your turn.
Very good. I am buying Working Out for a Longer Life with a sort of a caveat. I'm of course doing.
I heard
running,
about a woman named Lil who lived to 104. You should just do what she's doing.
which is yard work. And she's like, that's what she told me. Just straight
Okay.
up was like yard work.
All right, but you're running.
I am running more, and as I run more, I find that I'm very, very excited for the monies that have been promised from the state legislature and local governments to be used for a multi-use path on Forest Drive and College.
Yeah,
And
there's
so,
going to be more of them than that, too.
and that is my hope. I just know that
Yeah.
those are the ones that are guaranteed me.
Yeah.
And I am super duper ready for those things to be in place. As the days get a little bit shorter, I know it's still hot as the devil, but they have gotten shorter because
Yeah.
I'm waking up at 5 and running like an insane person. And it is dark now, and that is sad because I'm
Because
having
you have to wear a headlamp?
I have not. I literally, as I was running this morning, was like, I need to get a headlamp.
Yep, need a headlamp.
And so I'm trying not to be killed.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So I would like those multi-use passes. I know they're coming. I know they're going as fast as they can. I'm just saying that if they were to appear tomorrow, I wouldn't complain.
Yep. All right, what are you selling?
I'm selling sugar. Guys, there were books in my house as a child that were like sugar busters for kids and all this other stuff that my mom like tried to push on me. I was like, this is stupid. Sugar's awesome. It tastes great, and I love it.
And then at your age now, what are you doing?
My knee hurts all the time. And so I did a little experiment with some really unfortunate results. So you see, I stopped eating refined sugars, and my left knee, which has been hurting me for like the last decade, doesn't hurt anymore.
Yep.
And I'm not saying correlation equals causation, but I kind of am. And that
Less
sucks.
inflammation.
It sucks. It's awful. I love sugar.
We will expound upon that further during my buy and sell.
Go off, King.
Yeah. So my buy is I love the fact that Niceville's got a football game this Friday against Bay. That means it's the start of the football season across the board. I know NFL preseason's been going already, but super excited for football here locally. And then, of course, my Gators play at the end of the month against Miami, so that should be fun. So that's a game that FSU can get behind, right? Which one do you hate more?
Look, man, I
think it's Miami. I think you hate Miami.
It'd have to be the U because they're
You're
just...
in the same conference.
It
You got to hate
doesn't
them.
even make sense.
Yeah, you got to hate them.
Why does that school exist?
Right. Yep. So hopefully...
I say that as an SMU alum. Like, so I get it. I'm not...
It's okay.
I'm not unaware.
I think FSU will still finish this season in better shape than the Gators, but I'm super stoked for the opportunity to watch my Gators hopefully beat the Hurricanes, so that'll be fun.
And Miami's never good. It's just like statistically.
Not since
2000.
Yeah, not for a long
since
time.
What's his name?
Not for a long time.
Middle linebacker, very large, shot himself.
I don't know. Now this took a turn for the worse.
You know, like no, not like killed himself, like accidentally.
Shot himself in the leg in the club.
No, that was somebody else, right?
Yeah, that was somebody else.
I'm thinking of guy on Ravens.
Oh, wasn't it Plaxico Burress who shot himself?
Plaxico Burress shot himself. I'm thinking of middle linebacker for the Ravens. Very nice smile.
Oh, no, he got committed. It was Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
He supposedly unalived somebody.
Say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
This buy went way sideways.
I thought it was fun.
It was fun. Okay, I'm selling aging, so just everything hurts all the time, bro. And I'm doing a good job of not having sugar and dragging, making sure the inflammation is low.
You inspired me.
Thanks, man.
So,
yeah, I'm down 30 pounds or so.
Look at my guy.
I'm trying to get down 40. So these podcasts have helped every week being on screen. But
look
yeah,
how hot he looks.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts.
That's a good-looking man.
Working out is tough. So, but anyway,
that's what we got.
That's all we got. That's it for the show.
Be
nice, Niceville. Be nice, Niceville.